Hi friends, you're Rosario from Simply Option. Today's session is going to be all about TCS Buyback, all its nitty-gritties. I thought let us do this session in a Q&A format to hit on the nail very firmly. For that, let me introduce our guest, Mrs. Sophie, my wife, who is going to anchor this session. All over to her.
Hi friends, on behalf of our clients and investors like me. So we'll be having lots and lots of questions regarding buyback of shares. So let's get it clarified with Rosario.
Yep.
Hi Rosario.
Hello.
So before getting into the eligible criteria of TCS buyback of shares, so could you explain me about what is buyback of shares elaborately?
Yeah, why not? So buyback basically, before getting into buyback, let me go to the preamble of buyback. Whenever a company needs money, it on an IPO route, company will sell its shares indirect or can say it sells its ownership to the public in turn of money. Buyback is exactly opposite of it.
Okay.
So whenever company is sitting with a pile of money, it gives that particular money to the shareholders and get its ownership back. So this process is known as buyback.
Okay. So I have a curious question to ask, can I?
Yeah, sure.
So when the TCS buyback is placed at 4,500,
Okay.
so the current market price is 3,600. Why does the company is buybacking at high premium?
Okay, it's a very good question, and everyone would like to know this particular answer. There are, I personally, I feel there are only two things why the company is buying back with a higher premium. One is to who it is paying. It is paying its own shareholder. This extra premium, it is rewarding its shareholder for their loyalty. It's their ownership and their commitment is what the company has grown to this level, and it is giving back some tribute to its own shareholder. That is point number one. Point number two, it firmly established its brand value, stating that my valuation of my share is 4,500, irrespective of market price. If you see historically also in the previous buyback, the TCS has bought back his share at 3,000 rupees when its market price was 2,400. Now where are we? We are at 3,600. So every time TCS is saying my share is worth this much.
Okay.
So it's just the market dynamics is little low because of Ukraine and Russia issue. Definitely it will come over and above 4,500.
Okay. Let me step into the next question. So what are the procedures company follow regarding buyback of shares? Is there any specific method it follows?
Yeah. Basically, if you notice, any company as per SEBI, it can follow only two methods or two specific procedures. One is the tender route. The other one is the open offer route. Tender route is what the TCS has opted for, wherein for a specific quota of shareholders, there are specific minimum shares where the company will buy back. That is on a particular ratio, they will buy back the share from the shareholder.
Okay.
That is tender route. On an open offer route, it's exactly like how do you trade in the share market. On a particular record date to the end date, they will give the open window. Each shareholder can at openly I am willing to sell at say 3,800. One shareholder will I am willing to sell at 3,900. They can openly bid, and company will buy back from each respective shareholder at different point in price. This is the two method it is currently available.
Okay, okay, thank you. Now I have an important question for you.
Okay.
Can all the shareholders of TCS can participate in this buyback of shares? Is there any eligible criteria? And I have a personal question. So I'm just planning to purchase TCS share. Whether I can participate in this buyback
You're
of
about to
shares?
purchase?
Yeah,
Going
I'm
to
just
purchase?
planning to purchase.
Okay. So there are two folds of question you asked. Let me answer the second question first. If you are planning to buy the shares now at this point in time to participate in this buyback, you will not be a eligible candidate.
Okay.
Okay. So now, what are the eligible criteria to participate in the buyback? There is something called a record date. As on or before that particular date, you should have bought the shares and it should have been in your demat account on that particular record date. This is the very basic eligibility criteria. For TCS, that is 23rd of February. So, as on 23rd, if you have your shares in your demat account, then you are an eligible candidate. Else, you will not be able to participate in this buyback. And what additional things we have here is, since this is a tender route, what they have given in the offer, right? They are categorizing the shareholders into two segments. One is small shareholder segment, other one is the larger investors. For a small shareholder segment, for every 7 shares you hold, who are small shareholder first of all, if you are holding TCS shares worth of 2 lakhs or less in monetary value as on that record date, then you are a small shareholder. If you are holding more than 2 lakhs, then you are a big shareholder.
Okay.
Okay. So for small shareholders, for every 7 shares, they are buying minimum 1 share.
Okay.
All right. For a big shareholder, for every 108 shares, they are buying only 1 share. So that is the two thing. Basically, you have to hold your shares on the record date. If you are holding it, on this particular ratio, you can opt for your buyback.
So I think the record date is getting near. Right?
Record date is already completed. 23rd February is the record date,
Okay.
which is already over. You should have hold your shares by then.
Okay.
And the last day to apply, I think your question is more on what is the last day to opt for the buyback. The last date to opt for the buyback is 23rd March.
Okay.
The record date is 23rd Feb, on which you should have your shares. Before 23rd March, you should apply for the buyback.
Okay. I think I should have purchased it last month. My bad luck, I have missed it.
Yeah, it could be either way. Bad luck or good luck, it depends on the outcome of the trade. But yes, you should have purchased it before 23rd Feb to be eligible candidate for this buyback.
Thank you. That was a very clarified answer. Now I have an important question.
Yep.
Actually, who is getting benefited? Whether the investor or the company?
Okay. So with respect to buyback, if you see, I would say both are getting benefited in one different way. For instance, shareholder, they are getting a premium value for their share from the current market price. So whatever shares they are giving eligible and they are giving back to the company, they are getting some premium value. So that way, shareholders are getting benefited. How a company is getting benefited? Company, for instance, when they were in need of money, they gave their ownership to the public and they got money. Now they are sitting with good pile of money, right? So they are giving the money back to the shareholders and getting their ownership. So if they are continuing this process for say for a long term, so they are willing to get back their ownership bit by bit. So I think it's a good win-win deal for both of them.
Okay. So, is there any tax benefit for the investor? What are the tax implications in this buyback of shares?
Okay, I think it's a very relevant question given the context we are going to complete our financial year. Next couple of weeks we are going to complete our financial year. Uh, the tax implication as of now is different. 2 years before it was different.
Okay.
Let me tell you what it was 2 years before. Before 2019, the entire tax portion on this buyback sale of shares were at the shareholder level. So when you sell a share, what tax you pay? You pay capital gain tax, right? So this capital gains was taxed in with the shareholder before 2019. During 2019, there was a major amendment. I think the section number is 115Q. I vaguely remember. Due to that, now at this moment, if you are selling your shares via this buyback route, the entire tax owner is on the company. Shareholder is completely exempted from the tax habit of the buyback of shares.
So, the investors are getting exemption so they can enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. So as of now, if you are selling your shares in your kitty, the whatever gain you enjoy, your tax exempt.
Okay. So, that's a very good answer. So, I have a final question for you.
Okay.
So, will the buyback of shares affect the company future price positively or negatively?
Okay, it's an interesting question. I should say. Uh, First, nobody knows what's going to be the share price tomorrow, right? So that's the first point. But as a macro level, if you see, buyback of shares should affect the share price positively. I'll tell you why. Uh, Say for instance, if a company is having only 100 shares, its total share number of shares is 100. For general public, it has given say 50 shares, and the owner has retained 50 shares. Now what are they doing? From the general public, this free float, we'll call this, whatever given to the public is free float shares. Okay. From this free float shares, company is buying some of its shares now.
Okay.
This buyback process itself is taking back the shares from the public and putting it its own kitty. So if it is doing this, the available free float shares in the market after the buyback is reduced. So when there is a demand and the supply is less, because now the free float is very less. In case if the company is doing well and due to the market dynamics only TCS is low, it is bound to grow up only. So since the number of shares after the buyback available to public, free float public is getting lower and lower, due to demand and supply dynamics, the share price should affect positively. That's
So,
the broad answer which I can.
so I can conclude that this process will lead to a higher price of the company, right?
Yeah, exactly. This in a macro level, on a longer time frame, I would say this is going to have a positive impact where it will lead the share price even more higher.
Thank you, Rosario, for clarifying the doubts regarding buyback of shares. So, as a new investor, I got so much of clarification regarding buyback of shares. Hope you all got benefited out of my questions.
Yeah. Thank you, viewers. I hope this video was useful to you. First of all, thanks to my wife who joined us for this video. We'll connect in the next video with some other interesting video. Cheers.